When the storms of life appear, the untrained mind reacts. It fights, it resists, it complains. But the trained mind remains like the still surface of a lake. Disturbances may touch it, yet its depth remains unchanged. To act as if nothing disturbs you is not to deny reality. It is not to ignore pain, nor to pretend that difficulties do not exist. It is the practice of inner mastery. It is the discipline of remaining untouchable, even when the world presses against you. When you remain undisturbed, you take back your power. Because the moment something bothers you, it means you have given control of your peace to the outside world. If you learn to act as if nothing disturbs you, you begin to live from the inside out, not from the outside in. The wise understand storms will come, criticism will arrive, and setbacks will knock on your door. But your inner temple must remain steady, because peace is not given, peace is cultivated. So walk as if no shadow can darken your light, breathe as if no weight can press down your spirit, and act as if no disturbance can remove you from your path. This is not arrogance. This is discipline. It is the way of inner strength. When we speak about mastery, most people immediately think of mastery over skills, over physical strength, or over knowledge. But the highest mastery, the most difficult and also the most liberating, is mastery over reaction. Life in its natural unfolding is not designed to suit our preferences. People will speak words that cut, events will occur without warning, and outcomes will often betray our expectations. If every reaction within us rises like uncontrolled fire, then we become prisoners of the outside world. Our emotions are pulled here and there like a leaf tossed by the wind. To master reaction is to regain command of the inner world. It means that even when the storm roars, you can choose not to be thrown into chaos. This mastery does not come from suppression, but from awareness. It is the ability to recognize the first spark of anger, the first ripple of fear, the first whisper of anxiety, and to remain still, observing, instead of being consumed by them. Reaction is a natural impulse, but it is not inevitable. Many believe that the chain between stimulus and response is unbreakable. When this happens, I must react this way. But this is not true. Between stimulus and response lies the space of awareness, and in that space rests the possibility of freedom. Imagine someone insults you. Instantly the body tenses, the ego wants to defend, the words prepare to strike back. This is the automatic reaction. But if you train yourself to remain calm in that very moment, if you learn to breathe instead of speak, you break the chain, you create space. And within that space you can decide, do I wish to waste my energy in anger, or do I remain untouched, allowing the insult to fall harmlessly to the ground? Mastery is not in destroying the other person's insult. Mastery is in refusing to let it penetrate you. This is how one slowly transforms from a slave of reactions into a master of inner balance. The danger of uncontrolled reactions is that they always lead to regret. A word spoken in anger cannot be retrieved. A decision made in fear often creates unnecessary suffering. When we live reactively, we are like puppets controlled by strings we do not see. A loud noise makes us jump, a harsh word makes us burn, a loss makes us collapse. Life becomes a series of involuntary jerks, instead of a conscious flow. Mastery over reaction does not mean you will never feel the sting of pain or the warmth of joy. It means that you will no longer be dragged endlessly by them. Pain will come, but you will allow it to pass through without taking residence in your heart. Joy will arrive, but you will enjoy it without clinging desperately to it. This is balance. This is mastery. When your reactions no longer command your being, you begin to experience true inner freedom, the kind that no outer force can take away. To reach this mastery requires discipline. It requires practice. Just as a martial artist does not become skilled in one day, a human being does not gain mastery over reaction by wishful thinking. You must train the mind. Each time a situation arises that would normally disturb you, take it as an opportunity for practice. Do not run from the discomfort, instead observe it. Watch how the body tightens, how the breath shortens, how the mind rushes to justify itself, and then do nothing. Just breathe, just remain. This pause is the seed of mastery. The more often you can remain unmoved in the face of disturbance, the stronger your inner control grows. Over time, you will notice that situations which once threw you into turmoil no longer shake you. The insult becomes just sound. The setback becomes just experience. The disturbance becomes just another wave passing over the surface of a deep, calm lake. This is the fruit of mastery over reaction, the ability to move through life undisturbed, steady, unshaken. Human beings spend most of their lives attempting to control what is outside of them. They try to bend circumstances to their will, to persuade people to act as they desire, to manipulate environments so they feel safe and comfortable. Yet, no matter how much effort is poured into controlling the outer world, it always resists. People will not behave according to your script. Events will not unfold exactly as you imagined. Life refuses to follow the narrow path of personal preference. This is why so many suffer frustration, because they try to govern the uncontrollable. The great paradox is that the true field of control, the only domain where real mastery exists, lies within. Your thoughts, your emotions, your attitude, your choices. These are within your sphere of influence, and yet most neglect them, focusing instead on trying to change the external. When you shift your attention inward, when you learn to govern yourself instead of the world, you unlock the foundation of peace. The outer world is unstable, always in motion, never fixed. Seasons change, fortunes rise and fall, people come and go, health fluctuates. To build your peace upon the shifting ground of externals is to invite constant disturbance. Imagine a person who only feels happiness when praised, then happiness is at the mercy of others' words. Imagine one who feels strong only when circumstances favor them, then their strength is as fragile as the weather. When we give the outer world power over our inner state, we sign away our freedom. Inner control means reclaiming that authority. It means no longer depending on the approval of others to feel worthy, no longer relying on perfect conditions to feel calm, no longer needing the outside to validate the inside. When storms arise in life, you cannot stop the clouds from forming, but you can decide whether you will remain the sky or become the storm itself. This is the meaning of living from the inside out. Many people misunderstand this practice and assume it leads to indifference, as if controlling the inner world means you stop caring about the outer. But this is not the case. To exercise inner control is not to withdraw from life, but to engage with it more powerfully. When you are no longer enslaved by external outcomes, you can act with clarity, not desperation. If you pursue a goal and it fails, you do not collapse, because your peace was not dependent on success. If someone criticizes you unjustly, you do not become consumed by anger, because your self-worth was not resting in their words. Instead, you remain steady, and from that steadiness, your actions gain strength. You can continue to move forward, not because the world cooperates, but because your inner compass directs you. Outer control often fails, but inner control never fails, because it is always within reach. It is cultivated moment by moment, through awareness, through discipline, through the choice to hold your center no matter what unfolds. To truly live this way, you must practice a constant shifting of attention from outside to inside. Whenever something disturbs you, instead of rushing to change the situation, pause and examine what inside me is reacting to this. If someone offends you, rather than plotting to silence them, ask, why do I feel the need to defend my ego? If you lose something precious, instead of cursing fate, ask, why am I unable to let go? This inward turn is not weakness, it is strength. because while the outer world cannot always be changed, the inner world can always be trained. And when the inner is trained, the outer loses its power to disturb. The rain will still fall, but it will no longer ruin your peace. The noise will still sound, but it will no longer shake your silence. The world will still move unpredictably, but your inner being will remain steady, like the rooted mountain unmoved by shifting winds. In this way, mastery is not about controlling life, but about controlling the one who lives it. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many hear the word and think it means coldness, a lack of care or indifference to life. But true detachment is not about rejecting the world. It is about relating to it with clarity and freedom. To be attached means to cling, to demand that life be exactly as you imagine, to tie your peace to conditions that are beyond your control. And when those conditions shift, as they always do, suffering follows. Detachment is the practice of loosening this grip. It is the art of engaging fully with life, enjoying, working, loving, striving, but without letting your inner state become imprisoned by the outcomes. When you learn to stand apart just enough to see events clearly, you stop drowning in them. Detachment creates space, and in that space lies balance. Consider how water behaves when a stone is thrown into it. If the surface is shallow, the waves are violent and disturbing, but if the water is deep, the disturbance is absorbed and soon disappears. Detachment is this depth. When you are overly attached, even a small comment can feel like a heavy stone, shaking your peace. But when you cultivate detachment, the same comment arrives, and you allow it to sink without agitation. You see it for what it is: just sound, just an opinion, just a passing moment. This does not mean you ignore life or walk away from responsibility. It means that life can no longer control you through constant disturbance. Detachment allows you to respond instead of react. It allows you to keep perspective, to remember that no single event defines your entire being, that no praise or criticism, no victory or failure, has the power to add or subtract from your essence. The power of detachment lies in its ability to free you from extreme. When you cling too tightly to pleasure, you create fear of losing it. When you cling too tightly to success, you create despair. When it slips away, attachment creates tension, anxiety, and suffering, because it demands permanence in a world of impermanence. Detachment, on the other hand, teaches you to hold everything lightly, to appreciate joy without fearing its end, to work towards success without collapsing in defeat, to love deeply without chaining the other person to your expectations. In this way, detachment is not a barrier to love or passion, but a purifier of them. It removes the selfishness that says, "This must be mine forever, or I will be broken." Instead, it allows you to engage from a place of wholeness, not hunger. Detachment means you are no longer enslaved by desire or fear, and so your actions arise from clarity, not desperation. To practice detachment requires a change of perspective. Begin by reminding yourself daily, everything in this world is temporary. The body ages, possessions decay, seasons change, relationships evolve. This truth is not a tragedy, but a teacher. When you embrace impermanence, you stop clinging so tightly. You can enjoy what is here while it is here, and let it go when it passes. Train yourself to observe your own attachments. Notice when you feel agitation. Usually it is because you are trying to hold on to something that wants to move. Instead of tightening your grip, practice loosening it. If you lose a possession, remind yourself it was never truly yours, only borrowed for a time. If someone criticizes you, remember that their words reflect their mind, not your essence. If success arrives, bow to it with gratitude, but do not build your identity on it. Detachment does not mean withdrawal from life. It means freedom within it. It means walking through this world with open hands, never clinging, never enslaved, always free. Every life, no matter how carefully lived, will encounter storms, These storms may take the form of sudden loss, betrayal, failure, illness, or unexpected changes that shatter the routines we hold dear. Many people spend their days hoping to avoid storms, imagining that peace is only possible if the skies remain forever clear. But the nature of life is movement, and movement means change. To demand that the skies never darken is to live in illusion. Instead, true peace comes not from the absence of storms, but from the resilience to remain unshaken when they arrive. Resilience is the inner strength that allows you to bend without breaking, to endure without losing yourself, to stand firm even when the winds are fierce. It is not the denial of pain, but the capacity to move through it with dignity and clarity. Resilience is the reminder that although storms may be powerful, they cannot erase the mountain that endures beneath the sky. When you cultivate resilience, setbacks no longer define you. A failure becomes a lesson, not a death sentence. A loss becomes a teacher, not an eternal wound. Resilience does not mean you feel nothing. It means that even when you feel deeply, you do not let those feelings destroy your balance. Imagine a tree standing in strong wind. If the tree is rigid, it will snap. But if it has flexibility in its roots and branches, it bends and then rises again. In the same way, resilience is not about becoming hard and unfeeling. It is about cultivating a flexibility of spirit. Life may push you down, but resilience allows you to rise again, not as the same person, but as someone wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. This is why the storms of life, though painful, often reveal the depth of a person's character. They show whether you are living from the surface or from the rooted center of your being. The path to resilience begins with acceptance. Many collapse in the face of difficulty, not because the storm is too great, but because they resist it, cry out against it, and demand that reality be different than it is. This resistance drains more energy than the challenge itself. Acceptance, on the other hand, does not mean resignation. It means facing the storm without denial. It is the calm acknowledgement. Yes, this is here. This is what I must move through. From this acceptance, energy is no longer wasted on complaint, but redirected toward endurance and growth. Resilience is born when you stop asking why me, and instead ask, how can I walk through this with strength? The mind that accepts reality ceases to be broken by it, and in that clarity, solutions appear, patience deepens, and courage awakens. Resilience is not built in a single moment. It is cultivated daily, through small practices of strength. Each time you face discomfort and choose not to collapse, you are building resilience. Each time you fall but rise again, you are strengthening your inner core. Like muscles trained in exercise, resilience grows through repetition. Begin with small storms: the impatience when plans are delayed, the irritation when someone misunderstands you, the disappointment when things do not unfold as you hoped. In these moments, breathe, remain steady, and remind yourself, this is my training. Over time, the larger storms will come, as they always do, but by then, your inner resilience will have grown strong, and when the great winds blow, you will not shatter, you will bend, endure, and rise again. The storm may rage, but within you, there will remain a silence, a steadiness, a light that cannot be extinguished. When most people hear the word discipline, they immediately think of restriction, limitation, or even punishment. They imagine it as a cage that prevents them from enjoying life freely. Yet this is a misunderstanding. True discipline is not a cage, it is a key. It is the structure that grants freedom. Without discipline, a person is at the mercy of impulses, desires, and distractions. Without discipline, life is ruled by habits that weaken the body, cloud the mind, and drain the spirit. A person without discipline might feel free in the moment, chasing every pleasure or reaction, but this so-called freedom quickly becomes slavery. Slavery to moods, to cravings, to fears. Discipline, on the other hand, is the conscious choice to guide one's life with intention. It is the art of creating creating order within yourself, so that chaos outside cannot dictate your state of being. When you learn discipline, you do not lose freedom, you gain it. Imagine a river without banks. The water spills everywhere, soaking the land, creating mud, losing all direction. It cannot flow toward the sea, because it has no structure. This is life without discipline. Energy scattered, intentions diluted, potential wasted. But when the river has firm banks, its waters flow with strength and direction, carving valleys, giving life, and reaching the ocean. Discipline is the bank of the river. It channels your energy into meaningful action, rather than letting it disperse into endless distractions. When you discipline your mind, you are no longer dragged by every thought. When you discipline your body, you are no longer weakened by laziness. When you discipline your emotions, you are no longer enslaved by reactions. In this way, discipline creates alignment, and alignment creates freedom. It allows you to move with purpose instead of wandering aimlessly. The disciplined person walks a path that leads somewhere, while the undisciplined one drifts endlessly, never arriving. The beauty of discipline is that it builds inner strength over time. Each small act of self-control, rising early, completing a task, training the body, speaking with patience, adds another stone to the foundation of freedom. It is not about perfection, it is about consistency. Discipline may feel demanding at first, but with practice, it becomes natural, like breathing, and the rewards it brings are profound. The disciplined person can face challenges without crumbling, because their mind is trained. They can resist temptations that destroy others, because their will is steady. They can remain calm in situations of chaos, because their inner order does not depend on outer order. This is why discipline is not about punishing the self, but about honoring the self. It says, I care enough about my life to direct it, rather than allow it to be wasted. It is not rigidity, but responsibility. It is not harshness, but strength. Discipline is self-respect in action. Many fear discipline because they think it steals joy, but in truth, discipline makes joy deeper. Consider the musician who practices for years. Their discipline grants them the freedom to create beauty at will. Consider the martial artist who trains daily. Their discipline grants them the freedom to move with strength and grace. Consider the person who disciplines their mind through meditation. Their discipline grants them the freedom to rest in peace, untouched by disturbance. In the same way, when you discipline your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, you unlock the freedom to live fully, without being a prisoner of impulses. Discipline ensures that you are the master, not the servant, of your own being. And this mastery is the highest form of freedom. It is the kind of freedom that does not depend on circumstances, but is carried within you wherever you go. So remember, the path of mastery is not about conquering the world outside, but about conquering the world within. Mastery over reaction teaches you not to be a slave to impulses. Inner control reminds you that peace is built from within, not granted from without. Detachment shows you how to engage with life fully, without drowning in it. Resilience strengthens you to endure storms without losing your center. And discipline grants you the structure to walk this path with freedom and dignity. When you begin to live this way, disturbances no longer rule you. The noise of the world becomes like distant echoes, unable to shake the silence of your inner temple. You move through life with calmness, not because life is easy, but because you have trained yourself to remain steady in its difficulty. This steadiness is not arrogance, it is clarity. It is the quiet strength of one who knows that nothing outside has the power to touch the essence within. The world will continue to test you. People will still speak, storms will still come, and challenges will still arrive, but you will no longer be disturbed. You will act as if nothing can move
remove you from your path, and in truth, nothing will, because once you learn to master yourself, you carry within you a strength greater than any disturbance. That strength is peace, that strength is freedom, that strength is the unshakable spirit.